Okay, so next step, we are going to add weights to the tire. And so if you can see those numbers right there, I'm going to take the camera off and I'm going to set this down so you guys can see what I'm doing. But right there is our weight. So we're off 10 ounces, 10.0 ounces on the left side and 3.75 ounces on the right side. Okay. Now, so what we have to do in order to do this correctly, if I rotate the tire, if I can spin this tire a little bit, as I do that, I'm going to look at these dots. And I'm rotating that tire. See that dot moves? And it will actually center on that green arrow right there. If I can get it to stop right there. Whoops. So right there. Now, that arrow is pointing towards this arrow right here on the machine, which that arrow is going to point towards where we're going to put the weights on the rim. So if I'm on this side, see the tire right there? If I'm on this side with those weights, that's going to go on this side of the tire right at the top, right there. It corresponds with the arrow right here. And the same thing for this side. So this side over here is going to be 10 ounces, and I'm going to rotate the tire. I'm going to move this one until those dots, it's a solid dot, and it goes to green on the arrow. When it's on green on the arrow, now I can take this arrow, point it right here on this side of the tire, and that's right where I'm going to put my weights at. Okay, so let's do that real quick. Some pointers I have on the weights. There's two different kinds of standard weights, and one of them is to be, these are steel weights. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but that has a clip on it that doesn't have a whole lot of space. This one is for aluminum. And this one has a clip on it that has a lot more space. See if you can see those better in the light over here. This one has a lot more. This one here has a lot more space on it. So this one here is for aluminum. This one here is for steel. So we have an aluminum rim, so we're going to use these kind of weights with these kind of clips on it. Okay. I use this tool. This tool here, it takes off the weights on this side, and it's also a hammer on this side to put the weights on with. Okay. And so what I do is make sure I'm lined up. My light is green right there. I'm going to take my arrow right here, and I'm going to put a weight onto the rim right there, and I'm going to tap her on. Okay. Now I have to look at these weight sizes. So this one here, that's a 1. That's a 1. We're going to put those on. Oops, I dropped one. That's a 1.5. And we have to add up all our weights to 10. So we might have to put on a whole bunch of weights. There's a 2.5. And there's another 1. And if you notice, I'm going over, starting in the center and moving to side so that the weights are the same on each side. Some of these weights are old, so I got to close this clamp down a little bit so it'll grab better. It doesn't fall off that way. All right. And so I'm going to try and put a whole bunch of weights on over on this side. I got to come up with about 10 ounces of weights. And then I got to line up my other side. See when it's flashing like that? When it flashes like that, that means I have to go 180 degrees out. I'm on the wrong side of the tire. There we go. Now I'm going to put it right there on the green. And I'm going to add 3.75 to this spot right here. See how much I can get on there. All right, let's see how close we are. Now we're going to check it and see how much more weight we need to put on this. Okay, we're pretty close. We got a 7.5 and a 0.5. Okay, so let's see what we can find. We'll do one more here real quick. And a 5 on the outside side. I probably should have used a different tire, one that's not so bad out, but this is good practice. All right, so this one's not going to balance because it's so messed up, but that's the idea. And what I'll do is I'll balance another tire on here so you guys can see how it works. But once we're done, then we take the tire off. That should be all zeros, by the way, once it balances correctly. I'm not going to extend the video out, but sometimes you got to chase it. This one's, I think the rim is bent on this one is probably why. So anyways, but then when we're done, we got it all to zeros. We just take this, we spin our lock nut off and remove the cone. And then remove the tire. And then we put the tire on the vehicle and we call it good. And we do that to all 4 tires. And that's the last of this segment for the videos on the tire balancer.